Morning YouTube, this is Chuck Reynolds with CNS Mining and Manufacturing in beautiful, sunny, warm Arizona. Well, if you look at the thermometer, it's not exactly warm. It's like about 28 degrees, and it's not sunny, it's cloudy, and I am in Arizona. This is where my shop is. Matter of fact, I'll show you some ice, and there it is, a genuine icicle hanging from my hydrant fitting here. It's outside my shop, and it is cold. I'm planning on doing a video today, and was going to do it out here in the sunshine, but I think I'm going to do it inside the shop because you may or may not know that Arizonans have blood that's like water, you know, because we're used to the heat. You know, I'm okay at 100 degrees, but at 20s, you're not so much. So I'll be back and go through my video with you. I'm ready to start this video now. I'm in the shop where it's quite a bit warmer. It's about 44 in here, maybe 42. About twice as warm as it is outside at 8:30 in the morning. But this video is going to be about what I take when I go prospecting in the way of tools. And this pack you see is the pack I take. And it's got everything I need if I'm dry washing, if I'm going to just go out test panning, if I'm dredging. The equipment that is in this pack can be used for any of those things. So let me get this set up a little bit, and I'm back. I had to go outside and get this rock pick. That's one of my key tools in this pack. And it's snowing, so yeah, it's wonderful Arizona. Anyhow, this is, as you can see, it's been used pretty hard. There's no point on it anymore, but we use this if we're crevicing, if you're sluicing, if you're dredging. We can do this in tight quarters in a dredge hole. If we're dry washing, same thing. You know, if we use it for prying the rocks out of the bank. And it's this indispensable tool. And this one I've been had for about almost 30 years now, and it's well worn, and it serves me well. This isn't going to be in any order. I'm just going to take these out as they come out of my pack. This is a trowel. This was a garden trowel, and as you can see, it's bent up pretty good also. I actually made this. It had a plastic handle on it, and I cut the plastic handle off and welded this piece of 1-inch square tube to it, so I can really get some leverage on it, you know, if I'm working a piece of schist or any kind of bedrock or just panning. Next, we'll do this guy. This is a screwdriver. I got this at Home Depot. It didn't come with this hook in it like this. I just heated it and bent this in. I've actually got two of these, and one we've actually lost here just recently. I've got one bent this way, then I've got one bent the other way. So there's one flat blade, and then there's one straight blade like this. This is pretty long handled. I believe this is an 18-inch screwdriver, and it was like $6 or something. But it's well worth the investment. Another tool that we use a lot are crowbars. You might have seen the one video I did on my big crowbar that I straightened this hook. This one I don't. I keep this in my pack. And you can also, you know, prying rocks out, prying the schist apart, breaking cracks in the bedrock. It's just an all-around good tool to have in your pack. Next, let's see what we got. Oh, there's a roll of duct tape. I always use duct tape. You know, if I get a leak in a hose or a crack in our panning tub or something, if we're in the desert, I always carry a little bit of duct tape. Next is indispensable. That's this snuffer bottle. And for you, those of you who aren't totally familiar with it, it's just a bottle with a straw in it. And this straw hangs down in this bottle about halfway, maybe not quite halfway. And the idea is, if my hand is the pan, you squeeze the bottle, put it down on your gold, and move it and let go of the bottle, and it sucks up your gold into the bottle. And it can't get back out of here because the straw is halfway up in the bottle and you can't squirt it. All gold will come up around this neck as you pull it up, and you turn the bottle over, the gold's heavy, it falls to the bottom. Indispensable. I usually have more than one in here. I might have 2 or 3 or 4 even sometimes. It depends on who's been in my pack. Now I got 2 trowels in here. One is Cheryl's, one is mine. These are actually for metal detecting, but again, they're just different sizes that we use in different areas to get into the cracks and to put material in the pan. Not a big deal. That's it for that side. Now, in this pocket, I've got a 5/16 nut driver. For any of you who high bank or dredge like I do, I'm a hardcore dredger. 5/16 is the size of the clamps on your hoses. And if you don't have a nut driver, you're trying to do a screwdriver, and I don't know about you, but once you've been in the water and you're cold, or if you're just doing a dry hole in a bank, bringing the water to it, and you get a leak and you need to tighten the fitting, and trying to get a screwdriver in that is almost impossible sometimes when you're cold, or if it's too hot, you try to make it twist, or if you got rocks in the groove in the clamp. So this hex driver is amazing. It's an easy tool to get. You can get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or anybody Menards. Used mainly when I'm dredging, and this is an exclusive thing. I used to make these, and this is a sluice level. Let's see if I can get it closer enough where you can see this. This is just a piece of aluminum. It's 1/2-inch aluminum. I believe it's 2 by 5 in length, and there's a bullet level in the middle. And this bullet level is set at 5 degrees, so it's calculated to give you 1 inch a drop for every foot, which is the starting point for a sluice, a dry washer, a high banker, or a dredge. And it has an arrow on it, so this is your flow this way. On the arrows happens to be on the bubble on this one. The ones we made, it was into the metal here. But if you can find these anywhere, I don't make them anymore, or make one yourself. It's not hard to do, but man, it shows you where you've got to be with your level side to side and up and down, so you're right where you need to be the whole time while you're doing any of those different systems, whether it's dredging or dry washing or whatever. It's a really great tool. Next in this pocket is they're body putty, I don't know what you call them, spreaders, I guess. I buy these. I think I get 4 of these for like $1 or $1.50 or something like that at Walmart. And what we use these for is on a high banker or a dredge. Once you get your carpets out and that, use it to just scrape the black sand and any material down. Because on our equipment, we only open up the header box like on the dredge, if we're doing the dryland dredge, just the header box in, and so you've got carpet below it, so you can't get the material out of there by just dumping water into it. So we use this to scrape in the corners, get all the material out, get it into the cleanup bucket, then we'll put a little bit of water in it. And this one's made to hang over the leg of the dredge, or the high banker, either one, and I just haven't done it to this one yet. So that pouch is empty. Here's a side pouch. In here, I mean, this isn't any big deal. It's some sunscreen, because Arizona, obviously, we're usually in the sun, but not today. The other thing is, yes, we do have a lot of bugs, flying bugs, biting bugs, all kind of bugs, so this cutter backwoods is really good. It's for mosquitoes and all those little bugs that are just a pain in the butt all the time. Obviously, here's a pair of gloves. Again, Home Depot gloves, nothing high dollar or anything. These looks like they've been drenched in by as crinkly as they are. As a matter of fact, that one's wore out. Always have your gloves with you no matter what you're doing. If you're panning, it just saves your knuckles and whatnot from getting skinned up. You know, I bleed easy enough as it is. And here are knee pads. You know, if you're dry washing, if you're crevicing, if you're sluicing, if you're dredging, if you're high banking, you might be young enough where you kneel all the time and it's not a problem, but I guarantee you after a few years of mining or whatever kind of business you happen to be in, if you don't protect your knees, you're going to be hurting. And so these are obviously indispensable also. These are Home Depot, they're Huskies. Padded on the back, hard face on the front. This is kind of a leathery stuff, and it is a kind of a non-skid. In here are my screens. Also, this happens to be a number 4 screen or 1/4-inch screen. If we're panning or cleaning up, we always use a screen to get the bigger pieces out. Usually have an 1/8 inch in here also. I don't have it in here this time. Cheryl has it in her pack. If we're doing, excuse me, if we're doing crevicing, well, pretty much we don't use the 1/8 inch, but if we're cleaning up from the high banker or from the dredge, we always put an 1/8 inch on top. That way, underneath. So when we shake this down, all the 1/4 minus go through to the 1/8. So then we have 1/8 minus. We pan this 1/4-inch screen, then we pan the 1/8 inch screen. And it just gets your gold closer to the size of whatever the other material is in your pan and what you want it to be there. If this is more likelihood that you're going to have good luck with recovering your gold. I mean, you work too hard for this gold to lose it because it's stuck to a rock or because it's so much smaller than the other gold or the other material that's in your pan. So you want to make sure you screen. When we're panning in a bank or something, we'll use maybe even a 1/2 inch first, then a 1/4, just to get it closer while we're just testing. But if we're dredging, all my dredges, they classify down themselves pretty well, and so does the dry washer. It's got a 1/2 inch screen built into it on the Grizzly. So we always do 1/4 and 1/8, gets that material closer to the size of the gold, so you have a much better recovery rate. So this looks like the last thing in this pan, or in this, sorry, these are pans. The last thing in the pack is 2 gold pans. This is my favorite. It's a Proline pan. It's more riffles. It's a 5 riffle pan, real wide bottom, 14-inch pan. This is my second choice. It's a 3 riffle pan. If you look, it's you can't see it. I got my colors on it. It's a GPAA pan. It's my second choice. I always use that as a safety pan. I always pan with 2 pans. They're both good pans. I just prefer the Proline. I've had it for years. I tested the original for Proline many years ago before they came out with it. They last a long time. Just don't cheap up and get cheap pans. You know, the ones with the little line on it, and they call it a riffle. These have nice deep riffles. It makes it really hard to lose your gold with these. You've got to really work at losing it to lose it with these pans. And that's it. That's all the stuff that's in this pack. We take it everywhere we go. Cheryl takes hers, I take mine. If you're driving somewhere and say, hey, you run into some friends, hey, we found a spot up here at so-and-so. You ought to come and take a look. Well, now you can go up there and you can test. You got everything you need to test. And find out for yourself, and maybe bring a dredge in, or a high banker, or a dry washer, depending on where you're at. So we always have our packs, and you can do the same thing. Just matter of fact, this came out of a thrift store, and this one is, I think this one's about 12 years old, and it's had a hard life. It's everywhere we go, and it's beat up, and but it still works. Get one that's big enough where you can have your pans and screens in one area, and your tools in another. But it's just an easy way to carry everything together, and you always have them, no matter where you're at, no matter what system you're doing. Anyhow, that's it for this video. It's getting cold in the shop and it's snowing outside, so I'm going to go back in the house. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, just enjoy your time prospecting. That's it for me. This last clip for those of you who think it doesn't snow in Arizona. Here it is. You can see it on the windshield. There's not much yet, but it's snowing in the air. You can see it back towards the Bradshaw Mountains. You can't see the Bradshaws anymore. And you can see the snow coming down. There you go. I thought I'd wait a few minutes before producing this video. The snow's continuing. And see if I can get a shot without getting the camera in too much snow here. And you can see it's covering the ground now and showing no signs of stopping. Wow, Arizona.